I've reviewed the 3 files you uploaded, and they outline a clear lineage from RaptorNet OS to Raptor Assassin, each generation becoming more specialized, autonomous, and weaponized. Here's the breakdown. 1. RaptorNet OS v2.0, the foundation, eSwarm operating system, written in Python. Core features: Redis, RabbitMQ, MQTT for swarm communication, fast API control plane, admin drone endpoints, threat classification using bird of prey levels, Robin Condor. Engagement protocols ranging from monitor observe to non-lethal to lethal. Self-healing patrol orchestration and role reassignment for drones. Laser targeting capabilities for lethal strikes. Purpose: general swarm coordination and layered threat response. This OS is more like the kernel or operating backbone for distributed drone swarms. 2. Raptor Assassin 3.5, specialization. Built O plus Redis, narrower in scope than RaptorNet OS. Introduces high-value target HVT tracking, facial biometric confirmed faceprint fields, geofence support. Command model with options like one-shot mode, paint target, support mode. Core functions: cache HVTs into Redis, publish airstrike commands to the swarm queue. Engagement logic with placeholders for biometric confirmation, geofence validation. Purpose: targeted elimination, strike coordination, rather than broad swarm patrols. Evolution: it took the distributed communication and engagement system from RaptorNet and narrowed it to direct strike logic. 3. Raptor Assassin 5.0 autonomous C++ system, completely rewrit Plus for performance, determinism, and hardware integration. New modules: facial recognition system with OpenCV plus LBPH for biometric verification. Geofence validator for polygon-based engagement zones. Engagement system with Redis integration for pulling HVT data, confirming identity, and executing strikes. Raptor API server running on port 8080, providing an API for autonomous target engagement. Advantages over 3.5. Real facial recognition model loading, not just a placeholder. Stronger safety and confirmation checks. Closer integration with real-time systems. Designed for autonomous operation with minimal human input. Purpose: a weaponized, autonomous assassin system built on the Raptor lineage. Lineage evolution: RaptorNet OS, broad swarm coordination and engagement protocols. Raptor Assassin 3.5, specialization for high-value target strikes, still API-driven and Python-based. Raptor Assassin 5.0, fully autonomous, high-performance C++ strike system with biometric plus geofence safeguards. It looks like Raptor Assassin evolved by carving a focused path out of RaptorNet OS's general swarm control layer, adding more sophisticated strike logic, and finally achieving autonomy plus hardware-level integration in v5. Would you like me to map this lineage into a timeline diagram, showing features added at each stage so you can see the evolution at a glance? Here's an estimate of an 8-year valuation for a system like Raptor Assassin, RaptorNet OS lineage, based on current market comparisons, hardware availability, development deployment costs, and digital infrastructure trends. Because this is speculative, I'll present a few scenarios: low, mid, high, key drivers and risks, and hardware-software cost breakdowns. If you want, I can also build out a more formal financial model. Key reference points from current market: metric value, global automated weapons systems market, 2025, $44.6 billion. Precedence research, forecast for that market by 2035, $77.87 billion. Future market insights, global smart weapons market by 2034, $55.79 billion. Precedence research, autonomous weapons market 2020-2030, CR 10.4%, $11.6 billion in 2020, $30.2 billion by 2030. Allied market research. These show strong growth, favorable conditions for products with autonomy, high-performance AI, and weapons applications, especially when embedded in unmanned systems, drones, sensors, imaging, etc. What Raptor Assassin RaptorNet OS represents in the market? Based on your uploaded programs, a fully autonomous weapons-capable system, target tracking, identification, biometric, geofencing, engagement protocols. High real-time requirements, low latency, high reliability, possibly deployed on edge in drones or integrated with hardware modules. Significant software complexity, facial recognition, threat classification, command control, communication between swarm nodes, plus physical hardware needs, drones, sensors, cameras, compute modules. This puts the system in a premium category. Advanced Autonomous Weapon Systems / AI-enabled drone warfare ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, strike. Hardware, digital infrastructure components and costs. To run a system like Raptor Assassin 5.0 autonomous reliably, you would need component, key capabilities, approximate cost considerations, edge compute, onboard processing units, GPUs, embedded AI accelerators, real-time image processing, face detection recognition, decision latency, geofence enforcement, devices like NVIDIA Jetson AGX, Orin NX alternatives. Cost per unit currently, 2025, perhaps 2,000 to 5,000 plus, depending on environmental robustness. Sensors, cameras, high-res optical cameras, IR or thermal, LiDAR if required, GPS or other localization systems. Several hundred to several thousand USD per sensor depending on specs. Robust versions for military use cost much more. Communication infrastructure. Mesh, swarm communication, secure links, RF satellite, low latency, sometimes encrypted. Cost depends heavily. Hardware modules, licensing, spectrum usage, logistics of deployment add up. Swarm hardware, drones or UAVs, flight hardware, power, batteries, fuel, control surfaces, redundancy, perhaps stealth or hardened materials. Costs vary. A small UAV with off-the-shelf parts might be low thousands. Military UAVs cost tens to hundreds of thousands per unit. Fleets multiply cost. Ground, cloud infrastructure, servers for data storage, model training, updates, possibly command and control centers, secure networks, backup recovery, possibly edge-to-cloud hybrid. Data center or cloud costs, recurring O&M, software licensing, possibly classified secure network costs significantly higher. Software development and maintenance, engineers, model training, collection of data for face prints, etc., verification, safety, stopping errors, testing, simulation, regulatory compliance, legal overhead, human resource costs, R&D, upkeep. Also costs to make system robust to adversarial scenarios, safety, perhaps legal, ethical oversight depending on context. Open quote, these are rough estimates. For military-grade hardened systems, costs tend to be much higher, both for hardware and for durability, safety, certification, security. Close quote. Chashed estimate of 8-year valuation scenarios. Here are 3 possible trajectories for a product company built around Raptor Assassin, RaptorNet OS, depending on how far it scales, whether it wins contracts, defense government, regulatory regime, etc. Scenario, key assumptions. Estimate in 8 years, 2033. Conservative niche deployment. Limited deployment, small number of units, clients, e.g. law enforcement, limited military contracts. High development cost, but slower adoption due to regulation, ethical, legal restrictions. Moderate margins. Some hardware partners, but not full vertical integration. $500 million, $1.5 billion valuation. Revenue cumulative over 8 years may reach $200 to $400 million depending on contract scale. Moderate growth. Multiple defense contracts, international clients. Integrated line of drones, swarm hardware. Continuous software improvements, safety, ethics integrated. Some commercial spillover uses, e.g. border surveillance, critical infrastructure protection. 2 of $5 billion valuation. Revenue in 8 years, possibly $1 to $3 billion per year by year 8 if scaling well. Aggressive dominant player. Rapid adoption in many militaries, allied nations. Full vertical integration, hardware, software, manufacturing and supply chain. Strong IP, patents, trade secrets. Possibly export, international partnerships. Manage regulatory, legal, ethical risk well. Secure supply chains, technology ahead of competitors. US 10, 25 plus billion valuation by year 8. Revenues in that ballpark, multi-billion year, if achieving broad deployment and recurring services, maintenance, software updates, cloud support, etc. Cash factors that influence which scenario plays out, regulation and laws. Autonomous lethal systems are under intense legal, ethical, political scrutiny. Export controls, treaties, public opinion could limit adoption or slow deployment. Safety, reliability, AI robustness. False positives, mistaken targeting would have extremely high costs, liability, moral, political. The system needs rigorous validation, redundancy, human oversight, or safety interlocks. Competition, other firms, private, government, working on similar systems. IP battles, cost competition. Hardware supply and cost trends. Availability of cheap but robust sensors, edge AI processors, smaller, lighter, power efficient modules, battery tech, will significantly affect per unit costs and scalability. Geopolitical climate demand. Wars, border conflicts, national security priorities boost demand and funding. Peaceful periods or disarmament treaties might limit it. Public and international norms treaties. If major powers impose moratoria, bans, or strict oversight, it could restrict sales deployment. Rough cost, investment needed before revenue. To build Raptor Assassin to a production, field-ready level, autonomous, hardened, secure, reliable, over say first 2 to 3 years, likely investment, R&D software development, 50 to 50 million plus depending on scale, teams, simulation testing. Hardware development, prototyping, 2 to 20 million plus, drones, sensors, edge compute modules. Testing, safety, integration, another few $1,000,000, especially for real-world trials. Regulatory compliance, legal, security overhead, depending on jurisdictions, possibly millions. Then scaling manufacturing, supply chain operations will require further capital. Matched my 8-year valuation estimate for Raptor Assassin lineage. If I place Raptor Assassin in the moderate growth category, assuming things go well, I'd project valuation in 8 years, 2033, US $3 to $7 billion, maybe toward $5 if strong contracts and good execution. Revenue in peak years, say years 7, 8, $1 to $2 billion annually, with margins depending heavily on hardware versus software share. Cumulative investment needed by that time, 200 to 500 millions, including hardware, software, testing, sales, legal, etc. If pushed aggressively and with favorable geopolitical demand, the upper end might approach $10 to $15, but that requires dominant player conditions. If you like, I can build you a financial